beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're doing some looks with these beautiful Halloween palettes from Oden's Eye in collaboration with my friend Angelica Nyqvist. I had filmed this whole intro about how much I love these palettes and how much I love these collections, and reminding you to go check out my swatch and review video if you haven't already seen it. And somehow my footage got corrupted, so instead, we're just gonna skip straight to the good stuff. I'm gonna show you one eye look with each one of the palettes from the Halloween collection. First up will be this palette that you're looking at on screen right now. This is the Trick or Treat palette, and I'm gonna show you an eyeshadow tutorial for the look that I was wearing in my swatch and review video. I have subsequently done a very similar version of this look for an Oktoberfest. I added some smoky eyeliner for my night out look, but I'm going to show you the more daytime version that I was wearing in my first video about this collection, and then we'll get to the Little Ghost palette next with a little blurbly look. But first up, I'm just going to start my look the same way I always do. This is the Ulta Matte Eye Primer, my favorite primer. It has taken over all of my priming needs over the past several months, almost a year, I guess. Then for my transition shade, I'm using this gorgeous, rich golden matte shade called Howl. And I'm really just building that up into the crease area of my eye. I'm making sure to blend upwards because I do want that golden color to kind of peek out. I'm going to put some brighter and deeper shades on the lid, so I wanted to keep a little bit of that gold peeking out over the eyelid look. Oden's Eye mattes are definitely some of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite mattes on the market right now, because they are so rich and pigmented and true to color on the eye, but they blend together so effortlessly. It's truly a magical balance. Next, I'm taking this bright orange matte shade called Jack-O-Lantern, and I'm going to start to pack that on with one of my Singe beauty brushes right onto the inner part of my eye, and then sweeping and building that color out towards the center part of my lid. So basically the inner half of my lid is going to be this bright orange, and then I'm going to build another matte shade onto the outer part of my eye. So I'm making sure that this orange shade is most concentrated towards the inner corner, and then just lightly blending and feathering that shade out towards the center of my eye, because I want it to blend as seamlessly as possible with these really deep, rich, reddish burgundy shades. So I'm combining two of these matte shades together, Cemetery and Vampire Fangs, and then I'm building that up very similarly, but just on the outer part of my eye, trying to be the most concentrated on the outer part of that lash line, and then just gently blending upwards into the crease and over towards that bright orange shade, so that I get hopefully a very soft and seamless blend between all three of these matte shades. Like I said, these mattes just blend together so beautifully and effortlessly, and I feel like all of the color really stays true on my eye. I'm going back in with a little bit more of Howl to get those burgundy red shades to really blend and look nice and soft in the transition area. I want to revive that gold shade a little bit and make sure that I'm keeping that gold peeking out around the edges. Because these shades are so pigmented, what I'm doing is just taking what's left over from the original application brush and just taking a little bit of that along the lower lash line. I don't want too much pigment on that lower lash line, so whatever's left over, I just sort of sweep down under the lower lashes, and that's definitely enough to at least get me started. Now I'm going to go over the orange matte shade with this bright yellow metallic called Full Moon. These two shades together just give me the most rich, sparkly, fall-tastic color on the eyes. I can't even explain to you how beautiful this combo is and how long it lasted on my eyes. Like I said, I wore a version of this to an Oktoberfest, so I was outside having some beers, eating some German food, hanging out for many, many hours, and this eyeshadow really stuck with me through an event like that, and that is impressive. I'm doing a very similar layering technique here with the shade Trick or Treat, building that up over the burgundy matte shades, making sure it's more concentrated on the outside, and then just gently blending that in towards the full moon shade so that I get a similar ombre effect with the metallics that I created with the mattes underneath. This would look really pretty without the mattes underneath too, but it just gives it such an intensity, such a rich, opaque color, and it really lasts forever. I find that if I do the mattes and then metallics on top, my eyeshadow will stay stuck to my lids for so long. For my final eyeshadow step, I'm taking this lightest yellowy metallic shade called Mummy's Curse, and I'm putting a little bit of that along the inner part of the lower lash line just to give a little bit more emphasis down there since I didn't do too much in the way of my matte shades. And that's it. Then I just curled my lashes and added some of my L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Mascara. That finishes off this look. When I did this for Oktoberfest, I added some of the ColourPop BFF Cream Gel Liner in Sunnyvale. That's like a warm brown shade. I tightlined my upper and lower water lines with that, and then I used some more of the deeper matte shades to sort of blend and smoke that out when a little heavier on the lower waterline for a more evening look. But honestly, I love both versions. This color combination is so beautiful and bright and sparkly. It still has a little bit of a neutral feeling to it with the golds and the burgundies. That's not such an in-your-face version of the color, but it's still colorful and bright and fun and eye-catching. I got tons of compliments on both versions of this look that I did. And I can see replacing the orange and gold with some of the greens for like a festive Christmas type of look. So maybe that is in my future in December. Now we're going to move on to this little ghost palette. This one I was more nervous about using because the Trick or Treat palette is more my wheelhouse. These blue shades, the bright yellow, not really my go-to. However, I love purple eyeshadow. It's my favorite eyeshadow color to wear. So I really leaned on the purple and blue combo to help me create something that was a little bit different, a little bit out of my personal comfort zone since blue is my least comfortable eyeshadow color. But by mixing it with my favorite, I found that I was able to create a look that not only did I enjoy and feel comfortable with, but I actually loved so much more. It made me fall in love with this palette, even though I was initially a little bit intimidated by this color scheme. Now, again, you know the drill. Starting with my Ulta Matte Eye Primer, we're gonna do a lot of combining shades with this look. I found that mixing the shade Skeleton with this really bright, rich little ghost shade helped tone it down a little bit so that I could build up sort of that transition shade that I was looking for. If you ever find that you're missing a mid-tone shade or a transition shade, you do not have to be afraid of mixing your colors. You can create your own version of shadows that you are enjoying. Like, obviously, I like this little ghost shade. It was just a little bit too much to go in as a first shadow, but mixed with Skeleton, it was the perfect blend. So get in there, mix up your colors. Don't be afraid to experiment. And honestly, if you try mixing two shades and it looks bad, you could just wipe it off and start over. There's no rule that says that you're not allowed to do that. So just remember, it's all just for fun. You're allowed to experiment. You're allowed to try something and hate it. But hey, you might try something and absolutely love it. Like me and this blue-ish purple blurple eye look. Again, mixing some shades here. This time I'm going for more of a punchy mixture. The Little Ghost shade that I just used partially for that crease area, mixed with this bold cobalt haunted house shade. These shadows are incredibly pigmented, so I'm just using a little tiny bit at a time, really working those shadows before I go back and layer more in, because it's a lot easier to add more shadow than it is to take it away. So I'm definitely taking my time building up. I want it to be bold. I want it to be really intensely pigmented, but I don't want to do it all at once. I would much rather layer, get my blend the way that I like it, and then build up the color. Especially since I'm mixing two shades, it's nice to do a little bit at a time, because then you can tweak your mixture. Like if you decide you wanted to add more blue or more purple, if you're layering and building slowly, it's easier to tweak that blended color along the way. If you do these little soft layers, little nice blended, blown out layers, whereas if you just go in with a whole big chunk of pigment at first, it's harder to tweak the mixtures. Similarly, I'm going back and forth with my different shadow mixtures to make sure that they're really evenly layered, evenly blended. Same idea here with just taking what's left over on the brush and putting that on the lower lash line, and then really blending and blowing that shade out with my transition combo. I went for more heaviness on the lower lash line with this look. I just felt that it would balance out that bold blue and purple on the lid. Now that I have the matte basis of my look pretty well blended to the way I like it, I'm using my fingertip to apply the shade Creepy over most of my eyelid space. I am leaving just a little tiny bit blank on the inner corner because I want to use this gorgeous soft lavender metallic shade called Zombie. Again, just applying that with my finger and really packing it into the inner corner, and then gently blending up towards that creepy shade. I want these to look like a blue purple ombre. And I also used a little detail brush to apply some of that zombie shade to my lower lash line. I love having a pop of metallic in that spot right there. It just really brings the look to life for me. Something I've been doing for a couple months, and I really like the way it looks. For the longest time, I did not put anything shimmery on my lower lash line. And now I feel like this is the new putting something bright on the inner corner for me. Back to refine that blend just a little tiny bit. Then again, curled my lashes, added my L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Mascara. This look would be really cute with some false lashes too. And maybe a little lavender pop in that lower lash line. But I absolutely love the way all these shades work together. I love the way the purples and the blues just meshed and melded so effortlessly that it made me feel like I wasn't even using a blue eyeshadow. Even though the Trick or Treat palette is still my favorite, this look just made me fall in love with the Little Ghost palette. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about these looks. Did you check out my review video yet? Did you order either one of these palettes? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out. I just appreciate you being here, and I just love your cute little face, and I will see you real soon in my next video. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye now.